Hey guys, it's Bobby Dave, CM, founder of Coder Foundry. Welcome to the tech capital world, Kernersville, North Carolina. It is a beautiful, lovely day here in Kernersville. Kevin, how you doing today?
I'm awesome. I'm awesome. Oh, my head's cut off. I don't know why.
You
I need to slouch apparently.
got a slouch?
I guess. I don't know. My camera probably moved. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It is a nice day here too. It's not
Yep.
hot. Not cold. Right where I
Yep.
like it. Yeah. Right after this today, we are leaving at 1 because there's an Apple event.
That's out. You're gonna get
So
eyeglasses. Will get announced today.
is that the
The
big?
VR
That's
glasses.
that's the scoop. That's what they called
Yeah,
you and told you
that's
that.
it.
That's what's
Yeah,
going
me
down.
and Tim had lunch yesterday. He said I'm going to announce eyeglasses today, so
Wow.
that's
Okay.
what's going to
You got
happen.
you got the real scoop. I like it.
Or the car. Who knows? It could be the Apple car too. I mean, like he may drive one out there on stage. You know,
He's just guessing.
it'll look like a VW Bug. I got a feeling, but
Oh,
so
you think? That's funny.
they'll
No, but
partner
we are
with
supposed to
Volkswagen.
see new iPads, I think, and maybe
Yeah,
these AirTags. But
yeah,
AirTags have been rumored for the last like 5 Apple events, and we haven't seen them. So
yeah.
who knows? Who
So
knows? Maybe.
AirTags, maybe an iMac, maybe. That's like a long
Maybe.
shot,
Yeah,
actually.
I think the iMac is the longer shot. Because I think they're going to wait for the M2 or
Yeah.
M1X to go in those. I'm thinking I'm waiting on a new bigger laptop. That's going to be my next purchase. Is definitely going to be a new bigger laptop with the
Hmm.
M series chip in it. I don't think it'll be today, but I'm waiting on it.
Okay.
So here, impatiently waiting to buy it. I don't want to buy the current one, even though it is good. It's not good enough
Right.
for me. I want better.
Okay. Cool.
But Taz has got it right. It's iPad Day, which I have a current generation iPad. I'm not sure they can. I don't know. I don't know what else they're going to do with it, other than I guess just faster. But can it be any
Faster.
faster? Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
like this thing's amazingly responsive already. I don't know how much faster it can
Mhm.
be. It's pretty
Yeah, that's the
impressive as
problem
it
they're
is.
running into. Is like, what else can we do? What
Yeah.
can we
What's the
iterate
new?
on this
What's the? I
platform?
wonder what the new innovation in tablets is. What do you think that is? Think we just don't
I
have them, or do you
think,
think it somehow works with VR AR in some way?
yeah, maybe, but like, I just think the next iteration is obviously the eyeglass. They just haven't got it working
Yeah.
yet. When they announce it, that's going to be a new form factor.
Yeah, yeah. You think that does away with stuff like iPads then? Because obviously
No,
they've.
I just don't
Well, don't forget they
think it.
have they've iterated before over products that they've already had, right? So they had
Yeah,
iPods, right? Which is they had the
right,
market on that thing, right? They had the iPod was like the MP3 player for everybody had, right? They basically killed their own product with an iPhone.
right,
So
exactly.
they're okay with killing off previous products. I wonder if that's going to
Yeah,
be the next sort of thing, right? Is the glasses sort of kills off
right.
maybe something like an iPad?
Yeah.
I don't know. Interesting. Definitely interesting. So yeah, so that's going on today. So we're jumping off at 1 to do that. We'll do Q&A. If you have a question, throw them in chat. That would be awesome. We'll answer those here in a second.
And
And
if you want it guaranteed, hit the super chat.
yep,
There you go.
and you'll appear. Where are we? Up here. This side.
Yeah,
This side. Yeah, this side. Up here. Yeah, I can't even get it right. Up here.
super chat. If you want us, if you got some burning question that you need us to answer. So
Yep. And I was gonna
um,
say, Ben, I noticed that you bought the course this morning, so thank you. I appreciate it. You were top of the list when I looked right before we
yeah,
came on here, or about an hour
thanks,
ago.
man.
So thank you. We
Appreciate it.
appreciate it.
And happy birthday. So
Yeah, happy birthday. Yeah. You look like a
no,
young
it's kind of cool.
23, I'm guessing. That's great.
So one of the things that I've been reading about is say hello. How do you pronounce that?
I don't know. Yao,
I know
guessing.
I got Santos correctly. I don't know how to pronounce the first name, but
But anyway, what were you saying?
I was just saying that I was just reading about .NET 6, and so like one of the things when we talk about our self-paced course, all the things we're going to do for .NET 6, and cross-platform mobile is just becoming really kind of like a reality that's going to be faced at the end of the year, where we can build Mac OS, Windows, mobile, iOS, and Android all in the same code base. And on top of that, Blazor will run natively on desktops as well. So
So,
it's going to be an interesting time in next year when .NET 6 comes out. And this is what I've been saying a lot. It's a theme that we constantly preach, is that
yeah.
Microsoft is probably the one company of all the tech companies that is truly innovating on development platforms. Like everyone else has stuff, But like, man, the amount of time and effort and energy they're putting into these platforms to push things forward is just, it's a good year to learn .NET and be a developer. And so, having said that, our self-paced course will be on .NET 6 as soon as we can do it, probably very late. We'll probably start this summer. And Visual Studio 2022 will be in preview this summer. And so for the first time, Visual Studio will be a 64-bit app, which, if you know, it's been a long time coming, but like if you have a really large project, Visual Studio can get kind of slow. So it's going to be a lot more faster, a lot more responsive. And that's going to be kind of cool too, to see those kind of things come together by the end of the year.
So how does the cross-platform stuff in .NET 6 differ from .NET 5 then? Why is that different?
So like now, before, Xamarin ran on a different .NET framework.
Okay.
And so like it had a different .NET, it had different versions of the framework. So you couldn't really compile a Xamarin app and say a Windows app or a Mac OS app.
I see what you're saying.
Together.
Okay. Yeah.
And so now what they've done is Xamarin's coming inside of .NET. It's no longer running outside of .NET with its own little thing. And it's going to be included natively in the .NET framework in .NET 6. And so that's the real big innovation that's coming down the pipe. So that now we can write code and just pick our compile option and push it somewhere.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay, let me talk about one thing before we, because we need the whole stream to do this. So,
okay, yeah.
We're going to do an ad hoc giveaway. We're going to give away a lifetime subscription to the course today, ad hoc, unadvertised ad hoc. But here's the criteria for giving it away. So, when we reach 100 likes, that's when I'm going to give it away.
Okay.
So we have to get at least 100 people come through here, which we do throughout the course. We have throughout the course of the live stream, we peak at over 100 at the end generally. So there's normally 100 concurrent people here. All we have to do is get 100 likes. So once we get to 100, we will come back and I will do a Nightbot giveaway. So Nightbot will choose somebody. So you have to have commented within the last 15 minutes, and I'll let you know right about when I'm going to do it. It'll be somewhere towards the end, I'm guessing, before we hit 100 likes. But yeah, we hit 100 likes, I would do it. If we don't hit 100 likes, I'm not going to do it. Promise.
Okay. All right.
I'm not just going to be like, okay,
smash the like button, smash it, and maybe you can win a lifetime subscription to Learn.Coder So we think that's a fantastic value of the way that we are constructing our course. It's different than anyone else. It's more like Netflix for coding than it will be a course.
Yep.
We had to name it something, but there's going to be a lot more to it than when you get on the platform. You can always constantly learn something new.
Oh, these days it's more like HBO Max, right? It seems to be doing better than Netflix is at the minute. So we're like the HBO Max, we're like the premium version of this.
Right. Exactly.
We've got movies too. Do we have Godzilla in ours? I think let's promise Godzilla. We'll put Godzilla in ours too. I'll slip it in there somewhere.
Right.
So yeah. And actually, hey, look, Lan, you get it anyway. We're talking to you on Friday, right? I think we're talking to Lan on Friday. But you get it anyway, Lan. So I think I did already set you up. I think I did anyway. But if I didn't, let me know. I think I did. But if I didn't, Lan, let me know. You, as a former Coder Foundry graduate, you get access anyway. So yeah.
Yep. So
if you win, I'll give it to somebody else. Yeah. So let's see. Let's quick update. We're at 42, so we should get to 100. So if new people come in, remind them in the chat because I'll forget otherwise. So because I do that. Let me see.
Call your mom, get her to watch the show. Get her to like it.
But your mom's got a comment too, so it's gonna look weird if your mom shows up commenting, being like, like, hey, did you have lunch yet? It's funny. So do you use Facebook at all? You have Facebook?
No, I'm not on Facebook.
So I have Facebook, but I keep it. It's private. Like I don't just. It's not a public Facebook. I just have friends and family on it. So speaking of like mom, I put a post on there the other day, and it was a box of Cocoa Krispies, and I was like, when you're an adult, you can choose whatever you can eat breakfast whenever you like. My mom comes on and posts no underneath it.
And then you can't.
And then I was like, so I had to reverse it. I had to post underneath and be like, I guess I can't. My mom says no. I was like, that's just
that
funny.
Proper breakfast.
Exactly.
Proper,
yeah. Apparently, Cocoa Krispies you can't eat them any time of the day. under my mind.
No.
So she might be watching. Sometimes watches. So.
Okay, cool. My mom's not watching.
Let's see. Your mom's not watching. It's your brother's not. That's great. That's great. Let's see. Here's a question. We have a bunch of questions, but I'm just going to go for this one first.
Yeah.
In idea in Java programming, can I pick up Java instead of C# for building the bug tracker?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Any Java can do build a bug tracker in Java for sure. If that's what you know and you're trying to break in, build a bug tracker in Java. And like we've always said that, kind of roll with the thing you know and then interview for Java roles. The only caveat we say is look around and see if there's Java roles for web development in your area, and just look at your local area. But yeah, you can build it in Java. There's nothing stopping you. Go do it. GP. Yeah.
Okay. Before we jump into the rest of the questions, anything else we need to talk about? I don't think there is, right? I think I'm missing anything. No, we're good. I thought there was something, and I may remember it later, but we'll see.
Okay.
Cancel that one.
Well, we can talk about this. The Shang-Chi trailer dropped.
Oh, I saw that. I can see that.
Like
I know nothing about that Marvel character.
Marvel fans, and you want to know something about you like kung fu movies like I do. Shang-Chi looks like is my most anticipated movie for the year by far.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, just because it's a different genre yet again, and I'm a sucker for Hidden Dragon, Crouching Tiger, Into the Badlands. All of those kind of wire food type things. I watch them all, and it just looks epic. Anyway, so check out Shang-Chi. Go check it out.
Yeah, definitely. For those just joining, remember, give the video a like. When we hit 100, we're going to give away a lifetime access to the learn.codefoundry.com course.
Yes, we're going to teach you how to program in .NET, not necessarily learn Kung Fu, but we can teach you how to do that.
There's definitely, I can guarantee there is no Kung Fu in the course.
There's no Kung Fu in it, but if you want Kung Fu, you go to Shang-Chi. So
I might put Godzilla in there, but there's no Kung Fu.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's do another question here. We were going to talk about this anyway. Do we have a release date for the course? A few people have actually asked this one. But Athena, thank you for the question. Oh, Halitha, sorry, thank you for the question. We don't. No more than summer. That's all we're saying at this point. That's our official. That's our official stand on it. Because as soon as we give you guys a date, you're gonna hold us to it. So summer. And
we're in studio right now, and so sometimes we have to re-record things when we get them back, and so we're still in the studio recording. So
we're still finishing it up
very soon. So
yep.
So guys are working hard on
it. Let's see, you have a follow-up question too, Althea, saying started HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. That's awesome. I'm hoping to start out with a developer role by September. Yeah, that's cool. You're on the right path.
You can do that. This course can take 3 months if you spend a significant amount of time during the week. So it's based around our bootcamp course. So if you spend a significant amount of time, you should be able to do it.
Yeah, people. That's another question we've actually had a lot too. Is that's a very common question we've had. So I've been answering support questions as they've come in about the course, and one of the common things is how long is it going to take me? Everybody wants to know how long is the course going to take? And our answer is 500 to 600 hours because we know how long the content is, but it's we're basing it on how long it takes people in the bootcamp to do it.
Right.
That's 500 to 600 hours. Let me see.
You can shorten that if you already know HTML, CSS. Maybe you don't have to do everything that we do, but we do advise going through all of it so you can build a portfolio, build all the projects that we build out so you can have that rockstar portfolio at the end of it. So that's kind of the goal of our course and learning. But if you're there to say, hey, I already know this kind of stuff, I got a portfolio, I just want to do a C# course, you can definitely do that too. Just know that our course will always reference things in other parts of the course, so they're not silos. But you can definitely skip ahead if you want to.
Yep, definitely. Okay, let's go through some questions here. So Jens, thank you for the question. Says, hi Bobby, is building a desktop C# program combined with JavaScript for the user interface using one of the frameworks such as Chromely a good idea?
So I think there's a lot of work going on in this area. So there's a lot of people that are doing it because they're trying to get cross-platform. If your target is Windows, I still think WPF is and WinForms is the best way to do it currently with C Sharp. But there's a lot of these kind of JavaScript frameworks that will run natively on the desktop. So there's several of them out there. What you're seeing with .NET 6, though, is now they're going to have a common way of doing these things. And I think that's going to definitely be the way to do it going forward after .NET 6 release. If you want to build a cross-platform mobile app or desktop app or something like that, but you can do them. So they're not native though. So they run in some kind of Chrome, depending on which library you're using. So people do it. It works.
Okay. Something Quicks wants to know, is there going to be a preview of the self-paced course, like a video, something that would show a small portion of the course content? Here's what's better than this. You don't even need a preview, right? Because if you buy it right now, you have 15 days once it launches, you can watch the whole thing. And if you don't like it, you can get your money back. So
exactly.
Your preview is technically the first 15 days.
Right.
That's what we're promising. So you get the whole thing, technically, as a preview.
But we're working on some things that we may show, some things if we can get some a small piece of video out that we can show you kind of like what it's like, or type of video, maybe one of the apps, show one of the finished apps, or maybe show a small piece. The problem is it's all about context when we release videos.
Yeah, it needs to make sense on its own.
Yeah, it has to make sense on its own. And usually our projects are in a wider set of a context than like a 5-minute video.
Yeah.
So I don't know what we're going to do. If I can show something from the JavaScript piece, I might. It's hard to show something from the .NET side just because there's so much information that has to be given for that to make sense. So, but we may show something.
Yep. But again, just so you know, the way that the platform works, the way that we're offering the pricing is, you're buying at $129 now. If you don't like it, after that, when it's launched, you can cancel it. So you're not hooked in. It's like it's risk free at this point.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. So let's see if we can help someone out today, Kevin. Anybody need some help? You need a question that we can answer? You know, I know there's a lot of questions about the course, but we do want to provide some value today too.
We do.
I don't want to be just an hour commercial.
No. Let me see. Here's one. Edo wants to know, can I combine C# with React?
Yeah. And so actually you can build a React project right inside of Visual Studio. What you're doing with C# generally is I want you to go search up Web API, and Web API will be your back end, and then you'll use React for the front end. And then it'll communicate to those Web APIs through a REST service. And that gives you routing. It gives you built-in security like ASP.NET authorization. There's also support for JWT, like Java tokens. And so there's a lot of things built in the box that allows these Web APIs to really work well with any kind of like front-end framework, that would be React or Angular. But specifically inside of Visual Studio, you can start a React project or an Angular project, and then you can have your Web API serving it up on the back end.
When you say you can start it, it's like baked in too, isn't it? Like
it's a template.
It's like it's an option.
Right.
It's like it's a template. It's right there. It's cool.
Yep.
It's not just that you can. It's like it's encouraged.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Let's see. Althea has another question too. Is C# popular in Canada?
Do your own research. My gut feeling is yes. I don't live in Canada, so but I think that C# is one of the most popular languages on the planet, and then the different frameworks Microsoft's putting out makes the language popular because they're trying to build it with the frameworks, the .NET framework. So when you're targeting the .NET framework, there's a couple of languages, C# and F# that you can target. C# being obviously the most popular on that. So I do believe that enterprises and companies of any size, living anywhere, are using C# in their organization. Now, does that mean every company's running it? No, but a lot of them are. And so it's probably just as popular as anything else that you can look for in Canada.
So I have a question about C# versus F# then. Why would you use one over the other?
They're just different ways of doing it. So like one's
Okay.
a functional programming language and one's the general purpose, C style language. So they're
So is it
different
more
ways
just a
of
style choice then, like what you
it's
prefer?
different. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a different thing that you need to know how to do.
Okay.
But obviously, there's these functional languages are becoming popular. And so that's Microsoft's way of like supporting
Right.
developers where they're at, what they're doing, what they want to do. So
That
I
makes
think
sense.
that's where it's out being a total fanboy. What I get accused of all the time is like you just got to look at what they're doing. It's really groundbreaking and innovative things for developers to build things. So
Okay. Let me see. Seti, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. Seti wants to know which is best. What's the best way to learn and understand deeply JavaScript functions?
okay, so they're actually pretty easy to learn. So JavaScript functions we can. It depends on what you're talking about. Are you talking about like name functions when we write a function, pass it parameters in JS? Or are you talking about higher order functions like map and reduce? That's on-site Java. I don't know what you're talking about there, but in general, both of those are fairly easy to learn, and there's a lot of resources out there. If you take our self-paced course, we go over and we build some fairly complex JavaScript projects that go through structuring your code, passing parameters through a function, those kind of things. So, but like, there's a ton of resources right now. Even if you don't take it with us and you got a free code camp, you can search YouTube, type in JavaScript functions. I'm sure you'll find something.
Yep. Yep, definitely. For those just joining, I see a bunch more people joining too. Remember, hit like on the video. When we hit 100 likes, we're going to give away a course
Giving it
subscription.
away, Kevin. Lifetime
Giving it away.
subscription.
We're going to randomly choose somebody, and we'll talk about how that works in a second.
Yep.
When we hit 100, I'll give everybody a chance to.
How many likes we got right now, Kevin?
What are we at? 55 right now, so we're a little over halfway.
Okay.
A little over halfway. Okay. Continue with some questions here. Evolve wants to know, what is better path for beginner developers, web development or mobile development?
So I don't think either one is superior of the other. So obviously, mobile development is for building mobile apps. Web development is for building web apps. I think the job stats put it out there that there are more web jobs available than there are mobile jobs. Okay. So if you're just starting out and you're saying all I want is a job and I want to be a developer and I don't have an opinion on that, study web development. I think there's more opportunities. But if you're saying, hey, I really want to build mobile apps, that's the type of job that I want, then my advice is look at cross-platform mobile development, and that either be in Xamarin, soon to be .NET MAUI, or something like Flutter is probably your big choice. And there's also React Native. So there's three kind of primary ways to do it right now. If you're going after web development, we still think ASP.NET with C# is the way to go, but there's other ways to do that, to achieve that as well. But pick what you want to build, then pick the stack that gives you the most opportunity in the environment, and then learn that stack until you get a job, and then branch to the second thing. Stay focused on what you want to do. Hope that helps, man. Good luck.
Okay. Let me see. Just one more quick. Somebody wants to know how much. You want to know all pricing and everything? It's at $129. You can actually just go here real quick if you're interested in learning about the bootcamp stuff. I don't want to monopolize the whole thing with talking about that, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so like just go there. You can read about it, watch a couple of videos, and then it's $129 as the recording of this date. That price will go up here in next week.
All the way through the 26th. It's staying at that.
Yep.
Okay. We've done that one already. Here we go. Question is, on a long term, do you think Blazor can replace JavaScript?
Here's what I think long term, and we're talking long term, we're talking a decade. Okay.
Okay.
So in a decade from now, will JavaScript be replaced by WebAssembly? I think that's very possible. I do. I think it's very possible. Should that mean you shouldn't learn React today? No. And we're talking about a decade from now when people just switch over and doing doing things the WebAssembly route. Now, Blazor is an implementation of WebAssembly, but there's other ones like Rust and other languages that could come in there. So what I look at is like, I'm learning something right now. What can I learn that can help me in my career in the next, say, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months? Obviously, that language right now is JavaScript. But if you're already working as a dev, I think you need to look into Blazor, because what Microsoft's going to do with .NET 6, they're going to try to make Blazor work on the web and the desktop, which is, and so I think there's a lot of opportunity that they're going to take WebAssembly and really push that out. So like, we'll just see what happens. I think it could, or maybe we'll always be in JavaScript. But as developers, we should obviously embrace change. Don't listen to people that are like, it's never going to change, because they're just going to get left behind. So like, always embracing the changing in the industry gives us opportunity as developers to put ourselves back out there as a developer and say, hey, y'all know Blazor now. So like, now I can compete for all the Blazor jobs. And there's less people right now that know Blazor. So there may be some opportunity out there for seasoned developers to learn Blazor right now. But if you had to know one thing right now, I still think ASP.NET is the dominant thing you need to know. And inside of ASP.NET, you have to know JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. That's still the foundation of the web. You need to know SQL and some kind of backend server language like C#. It could be Java, but I approach it from the C# route. But I think long term, I think it's a decade away, like not necessarily next week. So, but if I'm off by 5 years, you should have plenty of opportunity to say, okay, this is changing. I'm starting to see all these jobs out there. I equate it to, when did desktop development, which was the primary thing, and then it took about web development became the primary thing probably 3 years after the introduction of the web. I mean, like, people were doing it.
Yep.
And I was doing it in 1997, but you really didn't see that like towards the dominant. So over the next 10 years, you saw it become the de facto way everyone's building web apps.
Yep.
So I think that's...
And even within that, things have changed, right? Because we had the initial web, then we had sort of the web 2.0 stuff. Now we're on web, whatever we're on these days. Like, I don't know, but it's even within web development's evolved. You can do way more things on the web today than you used to be able to do 10 years ago.
Yeah. So WebAssembly gives us the promise of doing even more things on the web. It allows us to get near native compiled speed. So we could make Premiere Pro from Adobe and run that inside of a browser, which today you can't do that on the website. It's just not nearly fast enough. So there's things like that will drive people to WebAssembly. And I just think that Blazor is the farthest along in the tooling and like getting it out there than anyone else. And I think Microsoft's continually going to pour money down into the WebAssembly route. So, which means that it's just going to get better from here on out.
Okay, cool. I think it has another question too, and I like this question. What would you suggest I start with to build a portfolio until the course launches?
HTML and CSS. That's what you need to build your portfolio with in JavaScript.
And we definitely advocate starting out with a template too, right?
If you're not a natural designer, I think starting out with a template is perfect. What you need to do. If you buy the course and you watch the video that's in there, it tells you what to put on your portfolio. There's a 30-minute course in there about what we're going to build with the course, and it goes through like what are the kind of things that you need to put on your portfolio.
Yeah, and that is already there. By the way, that video is already there. That's the one video that's in there.
You can get our marketing plan for developers, which tells you like what to build, how to start talking about it, how to rep yourself on Twitter and social media, those kind of things. So, and then our course goes through making that marketing plan a reality for you as a student so that you can actually get a job with this. So.
Cool. Quick likes update. We're up to 72.
72 likes. So we still need,
smash the like.
28 likes.
Where are we? We're half past. So we've got another 30 minutes to reach it. When we reach 100.
Smash that like button.
Let's
give that course away to somebody who needs it.
Okay.
Nightbot, get ready.
Nightbot's warming up. He's like doing stretches in the back.
Hey, you know what? To me, I think it's C# for me because I use Visual Studio. So like, for me, that's where I'm going to go. If you already know Rust, maybe that's where you want to go. I just bet you, and I've never even looked at the tooling for that. I've just read articles about it, and so I've never really tried it on the Rust side. But when you read the articles of like what you have to do to make it work, it's like, dude, like Visual Studio is so far ahead as far as like the tooling and building and all that kind of stuff. That's why I think C# ultimately is going to win the day. You got to ask yourself a question: who's supporting and innovating Rust to be running in WebAssembly? Where is that? Is that like just a standards body? Is there a company behind it? Is it all just community driven? And which is fine. It just means that when you have community and you have a major corporation behind it, C# and WebAssembly is going to probably beat it out long term. But again, I could be wrong, and like someone may want to rock Rust just because it's Rust, and I get it. So,
Okay. This question just came in, but I'm going to put it up anyway. So somebody asking, what is web development? I don't know if that's a genuine question, but I'm going to treat it as it is.
I don't know, but like web development is like when we're building web applications, and you see web applications in your daily life. If you use Facebook, it's predominantly a web app. You may be using it on a mobile app, but like if you use Gmail on the web, that's a web application. So anything that does functional things, those programs, those actions have to be coded up so that it can do those things. So
yeah, and it's kind of like, I think you do get a lot
of, for example, on a mortgage, there's a form that gets posted and then it's processed through a database and does credit checks and all that kind of stuff. All of that would be classified web development.
Yeah. Plus, even simple things like just having a static website that doesn't do anything is technically also web development. Just uses front-end technologies, doesn't use anything on the back end. There's no interactivity with it necessarily. Right. If you look at some, I don't know, like your mom and pop store down the road these days, even those are a lot of web apps these days. But sometimes you'll find someone who's literally just a web page, has no interactivity. But so it's, I don't know, web development is kind of broad, I think, these days, isn't it? Broader than it
we
used
have
to be.
front end, pure front end. We have like full stack, which is covering the front end and the back end. Then we have back end development. And then we have service development where we're building REST services for web so that other devices and other technology can consume our data on the web. So there's a lot to the overall industry. But in general, we're talking about building web applications that do something.
I think this is the point in that question right here. So Zeal is saying, what's the web developer scope in freelancing? So if you were offered, so I was going
to exactly, you offer your skill set up, and this is what I can do. Yeah. And whether that's a front end job or a service level job or a full stack job or whatever it is, that's what you want. Or you're just building websites using WordPress, which is fine. Maybe that's all you're doing.
It just depends on how you sell it, right? That's the thing. Like, what services are you selling? Like, what are you saying you can actually achieve? Because that's the way that you have to talk about it. The only way that you're going to be able to produce anything that anybody brings to you is if you're a full stack developer, right? Because you have to be able to add interactivity and build something kind of from scratch. You may be able to get by a lot of times with using things like WordPress or using Shopify or whatever for a lot of cases, but there's some things where if you're building an inventory management system for somebody down the road, chances are you're going to have to kind of be a full stack developer and do all that yourself.
Stuff about a database, yeah, and how to do all that.
Yeah,
agreed. All right, cool. Any other questions?
Oh yeah, we got loads of questions. Let me see here.
Yeah, if you've got a burning question, just super chat us, buy us tacos today, and we'll answer it. We'll make sure it gets on there.
I will guarantee it goes to the top. Otherwise,
yeah, guarantees it goes to the top. Otherwise, Kevin's going to pick them as they come in or whatever he finds interesting. So I don't know what he's looking at. So, yeah.
I just pick and choose sometimes. So Pedro, thanks for the question, says, I've completed my first JS project now, but still don't think I know too much about JS. What should be my next step from here?
Build a second JS project. Maybe enhance the first one that you have or build another JS that does something completely different. So let's say that you build a to-do list as your first JS project. Now maybe you could write a mortgage calc application or something else, or maybe you could implement features for your to-do list. So like there's a lot of things you need to do, but I do think that you need to build multiple projects. And as you build projects, you'll solve problems and then you'll start learning, and that learning will be kind of pushed into your long-term memory, and you'll realize that you can build lots of things. All right, cool.
Okay.
Hope that helps, Pedro.
Questions are pouring in. Let me see where we're at. Quick likes update. We're on 84. There's 105 people here.
84. Getting closer to giving that away.
When we reach
All
100,
right.
I'll give it
Yeah,
away.
we need 100 likes and then we'll give it away. So that's kind of cool.
Let's see. What is next?
So let's smash the like
It's
button.
interesting. I think I saw a tweet from you this morning about this. Any validity behind the notion of AI or machine learning replacing web devs?
I think, here's what I think about this topic. So number one, it hasn't replaced them to this point right now because
Right.
if you really know how to build a website and you really do know how to do it, you realize like there's a lot of moving parts here. The second thing that people are totally discounting is the creativity involved in bringing your application to life. So could AI and ML, we already see some of this right now where it can generate code. It can do certain things like build a CRUD app. We definitely through scaffolding, and I don't even wouldn't call that machine learning AI. It's just scaffolding that but someone has to write that scaffolding too. And so like even that there's coders behind the scene that are writing these things. And then when you think about just using .NET, for example, and ASP.NET, we have the underlying framework, what gives us access to a controller and access to models and views. And all of these things have subsystems under that. And so like that is just 100% complex. Like in other words, like no one's going to magically generate the .NET framework from AI or machine learning. So like, I think what people are missing is that creativity will always be involved in building these things. Now, does that mean that the tooling could change and we may not type in as much code as we do? Sure. I mean, you're seeing no code options coming out all the time, but even when you really get down into a no code option and they bring a no code option into an environment, the end user will say, yeah, but. You know what I mean, Kevin? So
Right.
like they'll say, yeah, I like that, but can it do A, B, and C? And we're like, well, my no code doesn't do that. Well, I know, but like I need you to do A, B, and C. And so you end up writing that custom code that the AI just can't dream up or even understand what the human's thinking, because like, imagine, I've said this a lot. Would AI ever invent Twitter?
Right.
My answer is no. Like it would never say,
Right.
it'd be really cool if I could talk at the time. I could talk to someone in 140 characters.
Yeah, because it seems counterintuitive, doesn't it? There's no.
Why would I do that?
reason
I have
for that.
long form email already, man. Like, what do I need Twitter
Right. It's
for?
definitely not the best answer for communication, is it? It's not an
Right, it's
optimized
not.
answer for communication of any kind. It's
No.
a weird limitation. So yeah, it is strange.
And so like, I think that's the problem is that people are discounting creativity. Like a computer can draw art. It can.
Right.
But it'll never draw a comic book. Like they've tried to do that. Everyone's saying like GP3 could, like, did you see the Spider-Man comic book that thing made? It was
It's pretty funny.
I mean, like,
The story was terrible. It was so bad. Yeah.
So will it get better? Yeah. So do I see that happening in the next 5 to 10 years? 100% no, because not only are the platforms in a state of shift, that means that the AI and the machine learning behind it would have to be coded up to keep up with the new platforms. And that may be more trouble than it's worth. Someone's going to have to program these things behind. Machine learning just doesn't magically happen. I mean, like you can't literally say, build me a website and answer 20 questions and it crank one out. It could crank something out, but there's always going to be but can it do this? And like we always had the thing in the consulting world is we had a famous client that always said, what you needed to know was ... which meant like 3 more months of work for us because they didn't tell us everything we needed to know.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there quizzing them, so it's always like, what you needed to know
here's the thing. AI would have known that's what they were going to do and knew that's what they were going to say. I don't know. So here's my question for you then. Skynet, yes or no? We've talked about this before.
So here's what I believe. And this we've had this conversation a lot.
We've talked about this a lot.
If Skynet was real, humans would kick its tail in a war. Like it totally would. We would totally win. Because we're just more devious and creative than anyone else. And my example is go back to the Revolutionary War. the British came out marching in fields, and we're like, nah, we're not going to march in the field. We're going to stay in the trees over here. It's like, and so like, and that's kind of that guerrilla warfare was born out of that, and they learned that from other people. And I don't know if an AI can keep up with the creativity is this spark that can't be explained or even categorized. Creativity is just kind of the genius part of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that's discounted in AI.
My take on it,
yeah,
we talked about this before, eventually yes, but we are nowhere near the fearmongers that talk about like right now around like AI doing things. It is not in our lifetime. It is just not. But eventually, I think yes. I think even though the creativity things, I think can ultimately somehow be learned. I think we figure out, and I think it's like, I think we take more. I think AI people will look internally into the way that we work, and they will be able to figure out how that is, and then be able to program that. I think ultimately, yes. Even creativity, I guess.
This is the thing that I always look at when we talk about AIs. They're like, yeah, but the Big Blue or whatever beat the world's largest chess players. They beat them all. And the computer beat them all in chess. I'm like, yeah, but they would lose at Partigi right now. Like shoots and ladders. They wouldn't even know where to start. How do I spin the
that's the thing. Yes, it was very hyper focused on one thing.
You would get crushed. And then you have to code that one up. And so you have to do these specific things for this to work. And creativity is just like, it's boundless. I mean, like, like people think, and it couldn't account for cheating. If people cheat,
right?
Like that's what we do as humans. Like, oh, you want to beat me at chess? I'll just flip the board. It's like,
no,
you,
that's
man.
it. No, but here's the thing. I think
a screwdriver in your hard drive. That's what
ultimately
I'm
it will know that. And I think that's the thing for me. So this is funny though. 20 years of capturing AI, I still can't figure out if it's a bike on the road, which is true. But don't forget, 20 years isn't very long. We're talking about, think about like where we've come in this time, right? Like, you think 20 years is a long time, but think about where we were 20 years ago and how far we've come as far as technology is concerned in 20 years. It's a very small period of time to come a very, very long way. So 100 times that, like, if we ever make it to that point, like, what will it look like then? Very different than it is now. Very, very different. Okay, we reached the number of likes. We're at
we got 100 likes?
We're at 107. So
107 likes.
Surpassed it. So here's how this works. For the next, what are we at? 42. For the next, I'm going to leave this at the next. So you have 15 minutes here. So basically what happens is if you have commented within the last 15 minutes, and we'll do this in about 10 minutes time. So in the next 10 minutes, make sure you leave a comment in chat. That way Nightbot will know that you are here and you will become an eligible user for the giveaway. And then it will know you get entered in. You can put anything in chat that you like. Put a little dot in there if you don't have a question. If you have a question, obviously put it in. But just anything, a little dot if you want to enter. If you don't want to enter, don't put anything in. Because you have an option to win. And if you don't want to play, that's okay too. I'm not going to make you play.
And I think too, you don't have to spam it. It
just once. It does not take into account multiple times. Just once. Once within 15 minutes. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, so it's taking, for the coders out there, it's taking a select distinct from the list of users in the chat. So like it's going to get, and you get one vote. However, if you're a member, you do get weighted, right, Kevin?
Yeah, you do. Channel members, what are channel members at? Yes, you get extra, you get extra luck if you're a channel member.
Extra luck.
Extra luck.
So like if you're a channel member, you get extra luck. Yeah.
It seems like it's fixed. So. But yeah, you have double the amount of chances to win. So
yeah.
Funny. And also,
so we'll give him a few minutes to put it in, and we'll give it away.
Funny. Look at this. Look, this does not gain you extra chance of winning. It is totally out of our control. This is no amount of bribe.
That's flattery, though. We like that flattery. So like,
no amount of bribe or flattery will get you winning in there. So. Sorry. And this is open worldwide too. All you're going to have to do, the winner, all you're going to have to do is drop as an email to info@CoderFoundry, and I will put that in the chat with your name and email address, and I will hook you up with an account at some point later today.
But Nightbot's giving it away, so maybe you need to.
Yeah, Nightbot's giving it away. I don't know.
Compliment Nightbot and how beautiful Nightbot is.
maybe it does listen. Maybe it's the AI is taking over. Oh, that's pretty funny. Okay, let's do a couple more questions while we're doing that too.
Yeah.
There's something interesting that doesn't come up very often. Yesabek, thank you for that question. Says, is it possible to combine multiple languages to make a project?
Sure. I don't know if it's, we do it all the time. So we're using HTML, obviously JavaScript and C# to make a project and then combine that with SQL. Yeah, we're doing those. They run in different domains. I think what you're asking is, can I write on a website, could I write my controller in C# and then also write like my web API in like VB.NET? And the answer is, yeah, you can do that. It's not the best way to do it because you typically want to have one language running through the part of your code base that makes sense. But inside of ASP.NET, you definitely can do it.
Cool. You're going to have a biased answer here. Somebody's going to accuse you of having a biased answer. C#.NET good for non-college grads in a front-end bootcamp.
So I think you're in a front-end bootcamp, so you're probably learning React or something like that in the front-end bootcamp. I do think you're going to eventually have to run code server-side, and so maybe you'll lean towards doing that with Node.js and JavaScript. But C# is that option to write that server-side code, and you'll still use all that front-end stuff that you're learning because C# technically doesn't run on the front end until you do to something like Blazor. So if you're learning React, HTML, JavaScript, CSS, then eventually you're going to be writing server-side code or should understand how it works. And then C# is a good choice for that, for sure.
I think the point of their question too is asking about, they specifically say non-college grad. I think the assumption there is that C# jobs only go to college grads.
No.
I think that's my assumption of that question.
People that know how to do it. That's where the jobs go, to people that know how to do it. They can demonstrate knowledge and skill in it, and they get jobs. So.
Okay, I know you have an opinion on this too. He wants to know competitive program or project-based developing.
So I'm going to be strictly fair and honest. I think, and I'm just judging by your name, that you're from somewhere maybe in India or something like that. I'm just guessing, and if I'm wrong, that's okay. I do think there must be something to this, and over on the eastern part of the world, like Asia or something like that, that I don't understand, and that you guys are like heavily involved in competitive programming, and then your hacker rank is somehow pushed into jobs. Like they look at those things. Having said that, even if that's true, and they look at hacker rank and they look at these kind of things, because that's how they're evaluating talent, I think that showing project based is the actual job that you're going to do. I think it's far superior than if you had to pick one or the other, and you only could pick one of these two choices and you can't do both. I would pick project-based developing because that's where I actually learn the method of constructing an application, which is what I'm going to be hired to do, whether I'm in India or the US or Great Britain or somewhere in between. And so I think that project-based developing is superior to competitive programming. Now, can I learn stuff from competitive programming? Absolutely. Have I ever done it? No, I haven't. Typically I'm trying to build an app that does something versus how fast can I solve a particular problem, which isn't always kind of relevant to the job. Typically we have weeks and not 4 hours to do something. So I think but these have their merits, but I think project-based developing would be superior for your overall career and getting a job. But if you have to have a hacker rank to get a job in India, then you need to go get one.
Yeah, and I think that's the answer to that question is like...
Yeah, in the US, that's no one cares about that. So I can tell you that no one's like looking at that at all.
And I think that's the answer. The answer is whichever one is going to get you a job in whatever part of the world that you're in. I think that's kind of the answer to that question. We don't understand the competitive programming thing because we're just not
job,
there.
Kevin, you'll be building a project.
Right.
And you better know how to build projects when you get that job. So like, let's say they hire you because you're awesome at competitive programming. They're like, can you build this website that does A, B, and C? And you're like, no, not really. Can you help me out with that? And so like you could get fired because you don't know how to actually construct a project that they need.
Right.
So that's my advice.
Right. One quick thing before I give this one away then. Alex wants to know, is it possible to sponsor people for the self-paced program? Yes. Technically, what you can do is, if you want to buy it for somebody else, you can just go there and purchase it, basically create the account with their details, and then send them the account.
Yep.
So you have to have their details. Obviously, you have to have their name and email address to sign up. But you can pay for it before then. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can technically do that. Okay. We have a new channel member too.
Okay,
Let
cool.
me see here.
Want that
Xander
extra
became
luck.
a channel member. So Xander, if you want to enter in this for the extra luck, make sure that you put a comment in. Because I noticed that you didn't yet. So make sure that you comment something in chat, otherwise Nightbot won't enter you in. Just being a channel member doesn't necessarily... You still have to enter. So make sure you put that message in, something in chat. It can be just a period, whatever. It can be anything. So there's 85 eligible people there right now.
Waiting for Nightbot to pick it.
Waiting for Nightbot to pick one. So I want to make sure Xander gets a chance because he did...
yeah. So we'll do it at 5 to 1. I got 12:50 here,
yeah.
so like we'll do it in 5 minutes.
I want to make sure that it's within 15 minutes, that's all. So we'll have to go a little bit before then, just to make sure that it does the most amount of people.
All right.
Let me make sure here. I don't want Nightbot.
You're running it, so like you
yeah, I don't want Nightbot to kick people out who commented earlier, that's all. So
yeah, exactly. I got you.
Yes. Okay. See.
So 1 in 85 is a pretty good odds for winning this thing. And if you're a channel member, you may have double luck. So
yeah, you guys should have joined. Should have done Alex's giveaway too. Alex's giveaway, I think he ended up with 16 or 17, something like that.
I know, yeah. Like
that was a good chance of winning that there.
Yeah.
Let me see. I still don't see a comment from Xander here. Oh, there we go. I see it. I see.
All right, cool.
Okay.
Newest channel members in the luck.
So we're at 88 people. So I'm going to go and roll this now. We will see who wins. Nightbot announces it. I don't get to announce it. So let's see. And it is totally random. Here we go.
Let's see who wins.
There we go. Cool. It is there. Let me pull it up here. It's going to take a minute for it to come up on here.
Okay.
So Althea won. Althea asked us a bunch of questions at the beginning that we answered, so Althea won. There you go. That's it right there. Oh, super chat. Thank you, Rob. We appreciate it. Graduates from Bootcamp on Friday. That's awesome. Congrats, Rob. That's awesome.
Good luck in the job search. Awesome.
That's awesome. No, that's awesome. Althea, congratulations. That's very, very cool.
Our friend from Canada that we just met today has won the boot camp. She's in, so there you go.
Very, very,
you have
very
a lifetime membership to learn.coderfoundry.com.
That's awesome. So Althea, send an email. It is info@coderfoundry.com, and I will stick that in chat too, so that you have that. Let me see. info@coderfoundry.com. So send an email there. Just drop your name and email address. Obviously, you're sending it from me, and I will set you up with an account, and you will be good to go. Oh, and I think you just became a channel member too. So awesome.
Cool.
Thank you. We super
the
appreciate
luck
it.
Worked.
Thank you for the support.
So the extra luck worked.
I don't think it did. I think she became a channel member after it even picked her. So it's like, you just like,
okay.
I feel you need to go play the lottery or something. Like this,
exactly.
Seriously, today, like what a day. I don't know if...
the U.S. lottery is about 270, right? 270 million.
Exactly.
So maybe today's your
totally
day.
Not fixed, Pedro. Promise. Nightbot picks it. I didn't pick it. Like,
Nightbot fixed it, man. Sorry.
So. Nightbot picks it, man. It's just how it works.
Yeah.
That's how it is. That's how it is. Sorry. We'll continue to do some of these at some point here before we release it too. We'll give some more away at some point. So yeah, let's do. What do we got? We've got a few more minutes. Some more questions.
Yeah. What do we got here?
I always like giving stuff away. It's just fun. Makes me feel good.
It's fun to give stuff away for sure.
It is. There we go. So, so book recommendation. We have any book recommendations? Dennis wants to know. We don't really do.
I think the Head First series, I think, is a good book. So, but you got to make sure it's up to date. And C# will be constantly releasing new versions.
A lot.
So books, if you like books, Dennis, then Head First is a good series that I think a lot of people like. So, and then the books also can be based around different things that you're building. It could be based around console apps or web apps or desktop apps. So make sure that you get the book that's correct for the thing that you want to learn how to build.
Right.
C Sharp's just the language, and then we got to figure out what workload we're trying to target, whether that be a web or desktop.
It's an interesting question we don't get very often.
Yeah.
So, Thomas, thank you for that question. It says, could you summarize the process of making a website, including different technologies and languages? So, to somebody who doesn't know, it is confusing.
Yeah, it is confusing. So, like in general, websites, our front end, our view is built with HTML. So that's a markup language where we have, a header tag, a body tag, and then all these tags in between. And that's the things that you view. That's your user interface. We style that interface with CSS. We make things blue or bold or whatever. And CSS is called Cascading Style Sheets that allow us to format that to make it prettier than just HTML out of the box.
Yeah, it's not pretty.
If we need to manipulate this web page, we need to change values, say in an input form or whatever. That's typically on the front end, our client-side technology is done with JavaScript. So JavaScript can interact with this page that we have and change stuff in it. So we can maybe show a validation error, or maybe based on something we type in the browser, say an input, then another thing will change. Where it gets complicated is when we want to process our application on a web server. So we have a client, which should be like your computer, the browser, that'd be Edge or Chrome. And then typically web applications run on a server, and that could be a web server in some kind of host somewhere. That could be on Azure, AWS, or GoDaddy hosting or whatever. And in between that is HTTP, which is our communication layer in between the server and the client. And that pretty much we're processing files in between. So when you post a form, like a registration form, that is sending that data through something called a post over to the server. And then that server does some stuff with it. Maybe it says, and then sends a message back to you that says, hey, thank you for registering. And that server side can be done with things like C#. If it's hitting a database, then C# is going to communicate to that database, typically through either LINQ or SQL. So web development in a minute and a half or something like that. So hopefully that makes sense. So anyway, way more, maybe too much. Was that too much information, TMI?
No, I think there's a lot there, right? There just is.
All right, there's a lot to it. And that's why the bootcamp, we form boot camps and we teach things. It takes a minute to learn all this stuff.
Yep, definitely. It's more, it is more complex if you know nothing about it and you start looking at it, you're like, wow. And you start reading up some things, you hear there's all these technologies, there's all these terms, there's all these things, then you're like, I just want to build this thing. How do I build this thing? And how do all these things equal building this thing? It is complex.
We always say there's 5 things you need to know. And that's why we have our Fluent 5 t-shirt, because there's 5 things you literally need how to do to build a website.
Yep.
And there are different languages and different things. And there's not just one thing you need to know. There's several. Yep. But that shouldn't discourage you from learning it. It's definitely knowable. So don't think, well, okay, that's too much. I can't do this. You can do it. It just takes a little practice and a little time.
Apparently we got 8 dislikes on this video.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That didn't win, I guess. But here's the deal. If you dislike it, you can't win next time either. Sorry.
You can try again. Sorry.
It remembers who disliked it, so it doesn't.
No, Nightbot.
It doesn't. The Nightbot's set to remember who disliked the video. It's like, you must never win anything again.
The grudge setting set to yes. That's what we have. Nightbot grudge setting equal yes.
Yes, that's an app we need. The grudge setting. I love it. Grudge setting on. Like, no, we don't really care. That's fine. Sorry if you didn't matter. Sorry if you didn't win and didn't like it. That's you know. Just think though, we gave away a thing to Aletha and she's gonna enjoy it. So that's
Yeah.
So that's
good.
Okay. We're top of the hour, so let's get rolling here. I'm gonna go get lunch and watch this Apple thing. I want to see what they.
All right, one for the road. All right.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Let's see. Let me see one real quick.
One last question.
Here we
go.
Abhi, what do you think about Deno?
I don't think much about Deno. I really don't spend a lot of time thinking about Deno.
You don't?
So And so like it's another framework. Yeah, it's out there. Is it used a lot? It's very small. It's new. So like, is it going to replace React? I don't see it happening, but like it could. I mean, but I'd say it's going to be a long time out there. I would say that if you're picking between learning Deno and JavaScript, like a JavaScript framework like Angular or React, I'd pick Angular or React for sure. But if you already know React and you're like building out React and you just want to see what Deno's about, yeah, man, go ahead and check it out. But that's I don't think it should be the first thing you need to know, because I don't think it's widely used or adopted yet. And I want you to pick something that's widely used and adopted so you can get a job. So anyway.
That's it. One last thing then.
That's it.
Althea, I see your email. I got it. So just to let you know that I did get it, and I will set you up this afternoon after lunch here. So look for that email coming back to you. And congratulations.
Yeah, thanks for Retro Rob, NY62, for giving us a shout out today. And Althea, congratulations for winning, and thank you for being a recent member for.
Yep. And Xander too. Thank you for joining and being
Xander too.
Well.
Xander S. Okay, cool.
We appreciate it.
All right. Good luck, guys, and keep coding. We'll see you Thursday.
Catch you Thursday.